Greetings everyone. Just wanted to do a quick video about the rotary evaporation process. Now, after you've got everything filtered, you've gone through the winterization process and filtered everything out fully, what you end up with is a lot of this. That's ethanol and your fully filtered butane honey oil or whatever oil you make, and you to evaporate it. Ethanol is expensive, so you can either just let it evaporate off into the air and keep spending money, or if you're lucky enough to have an evaporator, rotary evaporator, this will do the trick for you so you can reclaim and reuse your ethanol. Now when doing this, basically I just go by the Buckley 20-40-60 rule, which is you set your vacuum regulator to the boiling point of the solution that you're trying to recover, to boil it off at 40 degrees Celsius. So in the case of ethanol, that's 131.2 torr, which is what I've got my regulator set to, but it's not the most precise of regulators. And then your heating path set to 40 degrees Celsius. So what's happening here then is your vacuum is just boiling off the ethanol at 40 degrees. You get your heating bath set to 40, so it's warming that up, and you're supposed to have your chiller set to below 20, so I set mine to 10. So, and that's their 20-40-60 rule. Your chiller's below 20, your solution that you're recovering is set to 40 degrees Celsius, and your vacuum is set to boil the solution off at 40 degrees, whatever your solution is. And that way, the only thing you're ever going to have to change is your vacuum regulator settings, and your chiller and your heating bath will stay the same temperature. As for the rotation, I don't really know. See, personally, I like to set mine to 60. And I've noticed good results with that. But today, I'm going to see how much solution I can actually recover, how much ethanol I can recover in an hour. Since I've never actually tracked this before, but with this 20-40-60 rule, I find it's been working pretty well. So I've got my chiller cold, my heating bath hot, my vacuum regulator set, and I know it says you're supposed to preload this with about 500 milliliters, but I don't really bother with that. Instead, I'll just turn this injection valve open a bit, and just very slowly to drip it in. That's a little too fast right there, so you gotta be very careful with this thing. It's a little tricky and sensitive. One minute there's flow, the next minute there's not. But it's a little hard to see, but that looks good for me right there. We just watch out here in a minute. You see the vapor starting to condense right now. What we're trying to do here is match, as closely as possible anyway, match how much liquid is coming in with how much is being recovered. That may still be coming in a little too fast, but we'll figure it out in a little bit after watching it to see whether or not I'm getting a big pool in there or whether or not it's clinging to the sides. So if I'm getting the pool in there, then I've got it going too fast and it's not recovering as quickly as it's entering into the load flask. It'll just collect down there and then we empty it out at some point later. It's now 12:40. That's collecting away. I'll say I started it at probably 12:38, 12:39. So I'll come back in about an hour and see how much I've collected in here now. It's been an hour now, and let's see if I can drain this out without messing this up, as I've only got one hand. One thing to note here is I've got this handy little bypass hooked up. That goes all the way up here and bypasses all the shit in here. And the reason for that is so that I don't have to release the pressure in the whole system to be able to empty this out. So I just flip this little valve right here, and there's a valve inside here that'll flip up and lock this off. There it is right there. So I release the vacuum in here, and the vacuum in there is still maintained. Now let's see if I can do this without messing this up. Comes in handy, because I didn't have to release the vacuum on the whole system. All I got to do is flip this valve. It'll open up the top and bottom, bypassing this valve, and then this valve will drop. Shortly after it stops boiling. Flip this little valve here and re-isolate the system. And then I've only lost well, a little bit of pressure, about 120, 124, give or take. And in an hour, I've managed to collect roughly about 800 milliliters in this lever stop. Settle down. About 800 milliliters in an hour. And that's pretty much the entire process right there until everything's gone. Until it's all reclaimed and you've got all your ethanol back, then you just shut everything down. So that's a pretty simple process, and that's how the evaporation or reclamation is done. What I got here is ethanol. Reclaimed, although it does still smell a little bit like pine. So if I wanted to clean it up later, I could do a carbon scrub on it, put it through some molecular sieve, pull out any extra water that's in there, and that way it'd be purified again. So that's it. Hope it helped.